technical glitch. My computer wasn't turning on, so I lost a couple of things when I had to power it. Anyway, you don't need to know that, because what's more important is we're getting ready to have a touchdown of a show. Um, a full back edition. I'm trying to see how many more. A tight end. No, let me stop. Let me stop using all of my NFL lingo in the first 5 seconds, because I'll have nowhere else to go. But I'm very excited to bring in from the NFL Alumni. He is Brent Reece. He is the marketing director for the organization. He owns several different other businesses also in marketing, which I'm excited to speak with you about, because we all can learn so much more from you, and I'm excited to meet you. And welcome to the eSpot, Brent.
Yes, thank you. No, it's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate you having me for sure. So
absolutely. Well, everybody's always in the mood for some football.
Right? Yeah. I mean, if we can get some right this year.
Yeah. Well, you're the one, you're the closest I can get to find out insider information. Have you heard anything?
We are definitely working on it. The teams are like scrambling, looking for systems and solutions, but I don't know any insight other than it's not looking good though.
Okay. NBA had us all hopeful, but so tell everyone how you got started with working with the NFL Alumni and what exactly you do with the organization.
Yeah, so I'm the marketing director, and I really started off, my father played 10 years in the NFL, so I've always had, he's always been highly involved. So I've always sort of had just been aware of them and sort of known different guys within the chapters. So the opportunity came, and I was fortunate enough to create some projects and some initiatives that kind of grabbed some traction there. So through that, I got the tap on the shoulder, when you're like working, and it's Super Bowl champ Bart Oates, who's kind of a legend, and he's like, hey, can you come to the conference room? And you're like, yes, and it just happened. They kind of offered me a job, which is kind of sweet. So yeah, I love doing it. And what I do is I pretty much create I take point on like developing and prospecting all the different like strategic partnerships and sponsors that we create throughout the year, all to raise money for our charity and for the player initiatives.
No, and you guys have some great charities that you're involved in this year. I even noticed today you guys, well, I mean, not necessarily a charity today, but I noticed even today some new initiatives you guys are getting involved in. Can you share a little bit about all the different things that you guys are involved in and how we can even support?
Absolutely. I mean, if you go to our website, if you just search, NFL Alumni, you'll definitely find us. But we have 37 chapters that are each like contributing. They all have different presidents, a different group and board of like former players that are just engaging that community through different fundraisers like golf tournaments and gatherings of all kinds. So, I mean, we have major charities that we support annually. But really, it's here at National, we manage more of the player initiatives, and we leave those 37 chapters that are like boots on the ground, like identifying the need in that community, and then knowing the different like groups that are really making a difference. Like every former player in their city knows like who's really doing what. So we try to support those guys and like what they're doing. So we contribute to over like 1.5 million a year at least in children's charity through our Caring for Kids initiative. And that's how that works. Yeah.
Now, that's great. Now, with COVID being an issue we're all dealing with, and the pandemic kind of putting a damper in so much, and possibly even the season, what kind of initiatives or what kind of involvements are you guys looking forward to getting involved to help?
Yeah.
Essential workers, students. I mean, there's so many different groups of need right now. So how do you guys even decipher where to spend your talent?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it was challenging to kind of decide what needed to be put on hold, what really was a good fit. There's a lot of social justice, initiatives that we're pulling out right now, just because, in support of the guys that are obviously, becoming like a voice right now. I think some of the NFL players or just athletes in general. And then you have your technical industries, and the guys that are going strong, unfortunately, I hate to say, due to the COVID, are different companies that want to align themselves with the alumni. And whereas though we can't come together, we've just gone to virtual like esports tournaments. We were fortunate to sort of be in that place, as you sort of teed up nicely, because first thing we did through COVID was through May, every Sunday from 4 to 7, we had a celebrity esports tournament to raise money for charity. And yeah, it went really well. We tied it up with a streamathon with a group called Community with Ryan Johnson. Shout out to my little brother down in Atlanta, and a ton of support, different celebrities, like big names, artists and athletes came in and just kind of said what they had to say. But it was all about, again, like using video games really as a bridge.
Right.
As a bridge to like developing the resources around STEAM, like science, technology, engineering, and math for the kids, so that the alumni can just like broaden and innovate the ways that it can, care for kids, quote unquote.
No, I love that you're including with STEM, that you're including the art element of that as well, where, because I think if nothing else, we all discovered how important arts are during this time, because we've all been either Netflixing and chilling or painting or listening to music or enjoying the lives,
Right.
and how greatly those two, 5, I'm spelling out STEM, right? 5 letters or subjects get along so well. And I love that you're bringing that to kids in a way that, with it being the NFL behind it, it's going to encourage more kids that maybe who wouldn't normally think to go in that route. So I know you were talking about esports, but there's a little bit more with that, because you guys are also helping with the digital divide. That's a lot of these kids that look up to football players or may even be interested in becoming football players one day may not have access. You're kind of helping with that as well, which I love. So can you share some more about that as well?
Yeah. Really, Ryan Johnson again in Atlanta was sort of thinking along the same path. His streamathon was called he really coined the phrase, the digital divide. I kind of just ran with it, but he surprised me with all these amazing stats, and he was way out in front of it. So, and at the same time, the NFL alumni, president called me and was just sort of like, hey man, we need some computers for these kids in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
So, we just kind of combined efforts, and yeah, like we raised over $100,000. The struggle has been actually like getting the availability of the laptops. Like around this time of year, it's really hard to order like mass amounts of any, educational device or like computer right now.
Okay.
But aside from that, like we got a ton of views through Twitch, and we streamed. We got front page placement on Twitch, like all those Sundays through May, and we're continuing to do it the first Sunday of every month. You can look up Tech for Good or Tech for COVID, hashtag Tech for COVID, and it's a streamathon and esports tournament that we're raising money for computers.
Okay, I'll look that up right now so they can have it Tech for COVID, you said, right?
Yep. Hashtag Tech for COVID.
Okay. The number 4, or actually spell it out?
It's actually just the number 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, they're that specific when it's a hashtag. So I just want to make sure I'm sharing the right information. So
Right on.
Tech for Good. Oh, that's great. Because, with kids having to be on their devices so much now, with whether they're going to virtual academy or just even for their own enjoyment, because they're FaceTiming their friends, they're TikToking or Instagramming or whatever there is. If there's a way that they can actually make a career out of it. And I've heard so many different things from esports where you can even possibly get scholarships as well. Does the NFL alumni have anything to do with that as well that you can share? So some of our future seniors can benefit from maybe some of these great opportunities.
Yeah, so it started with the Pro Day experience, the NFLA Pro Day experience. You can look that up and check out the website. Like without COVID right now through the fall, we'd be geared up to go through, a handful of colleges. So NACE is the NCAA of college esports. And like you said, like over hundreds of universities have huge programs that give out dozens of scholarships. And you know, in every neighborhood, you have that like gamer or that techie kid or that kid who, you know, we
I
like
live
to
in the
bring.
home of Epic Games. I live near Cary, so we have Cisco, Lenovo,
That's it.
Epic Games. Like everybody here is playing video games. I'm
That's
sure of it.
it. That's
Yeah.
it. And like, yeah, so like those kids are, you know, developing, they're not, there's no longer like that stigma on gaming. So I
Mhm.
think with the NFL and like getting behind it and like acknowledging that it's a viable sport, it's a great industry, and it's a way that you can still mentor and reach kids that otherwise might be like subjected to sort of like an isolation or like a digital, sort of like a cyberbullying and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of room in there for the alumni to get in there and sort of like make it a safer space and just make it like a family oriented, charity driven fundraiser, celebrity type environment where kids can come and sort of like play with their favorite celebrities online. And the idea that I think of is like, you know, all the athletes probably need a little more time like around tech and STEAM, and a lot of the STEAM kids need a little more time kind of like getting out and being more, you know, so by meshing those environments, the goal to the alumni is to try to like create like the full, you know, create our young youth that are fully like ready and prepared for the future. You know?
No, I love this. Now, um, what do you think is going to happen as far as the future with all of this, with VR and esports and NFL? Because I had Amber Balkan. She's a NASCAR driver, and she was telling me how she's been practicing in this like basically a recreation of her race car where she can
Right.
get all the same feelings and so on as if she's really racing, just to get kind of prepped for her next race so she can still stay in shape. And
Yeah.
I'm curious, do you see anything like that happening with NFL or even with video games in general? Because it's not the Atari I remember my parents having.
Yeah. No. Totally. Yeah. Like VR, like virtual reality, virtual seating, virtual training. You're seeing, you know, more and more of like the NBA releasing apps. It's not necessarily using like the XR or like extended reality,
Mhm.
which you mentioned, but you know, I kind of see that, you know, through like, for example, the Hall of Fame, the NFL and my Hall of Fame is shut down right now, and it's tough for people to travel and really visit there. So like a virtual tour of the Hall of Fame right now is something that is being developed. So these are some of the initiatives that you're starting to see teams consider. And I think like when it comes to whether it's like large gatherings, like stadium seating for performances or sports or camps, whatever it's going to be, you're going to have to start to add like this sort of virtual initiative or like component to it to like get that access that sort of people want, like that backstage or like in your home gym or home, you know, studio type and 360, you know, immersion is sort of what we're pushing for with some of the companies that in the tech startup lane that we're on. So.
Oh, that's going to be cool. I can see how this can just expand to be so much more because, I mean, everybody saw how Peloton kind of just
Yeah.
shot up, and so did Zumba. So I'm just imagining being able to have somebody in your home teach you all those different classes as if you're doing it with them and not having to worry about getting back to the gyms or even with live events. I know that we talked off camera where you were saying even for like concert events or Super Bowl, we could pretend we were down there with Beyonce dancing in formation.
Yeah, you're right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right on stage. Everybody has front row seating, and
Yeah,
you know,
what an
just think about
experience.
and like you said, like right now, like the headsets, right? They're like $500, they're $600, they're up to $4,000. And you know, we're buying devices like iWatches, iPods, and stuff like that that are in that price range almost. And those pretty soon, I think that when there's more than like roller coasters and sort of like these Grand Canyon type experiences available on these app stores, when you can find non-gaming content that's like has your favorite artist, I don't want to throw any names out, but you know, if I knew that whoever was out there and he had an app that I could throw on some goggles and experience his music sort of like in his world, whether it's his home studio or some creation, or her creation, a creation of her own that like, you know, allows me to like kind of experience like visually also like along with the like a picture that they're painting with the audio. So that's where we're trying to take the whole like VR, like XR. So hashtag XR life.
That would be amazing. I just can imagine, because you have kids just like I have kids, and for parents, just for a virtual academy to be on a completely different level. And you're not
Mhm.
just reading the books; you can actually go to where those places are, at least virtually. But like we
Yeah,
mentioned earlier about the digital divide and the price points of these different devices, but you
right.
mentioned that off camera that there would be an option for them to still be able to use their device. And um, what more can we do, I guess, to help decrease that divide? I mean, right now you were saying that the biggest problem was just the logistics of getting the devices to the kids, but is there anything else in case, because I have a very smart audience out there who knows what,
No,
or
that's what's up. That's what's
yeah.
up. And I mean, it kind of leads to like a bigger, sort of like web of issues that are
Mhm.
kind of happening. Like, what can we all do? It kind of comes down to just like voting and like getting our ballots now and mailing them in and finding a way where they're, despite rolling into the different challenges that are out there and just kind of, having the right people in place to make sure that our kids are taken care of, because you can fight as much as you want, trying to get computers and raise awareness, and we can all come together and make a difference. But really, it's about with all the social distancing and all the different attacks that we have, whether it's like unemployment rates and it's all like a distraction. It's a
Yeah.
distraction from like voters. So you look at like voter suppression and fractioning, and those bigger issues, I think, are where we need to be, making sure that we can put our energies on together.
Now, what kind of initiatives is the NFL doing, or NFL alumni, excuse me, doing to kind of help bring more awareness to how important voting is, and getting out to vote and not falling for all the voter suppression that's going on as far as whether there's the post office or,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still, that's one of the things that I've put together, and we're kind of trying to get support from the Player Coalition. And, so Roger Goodell has his, social justice initiative, which is
The
inspired.
Jay-Z one.
The Jay-Z one, exactly. It was like 250 million. And, the guys kind of like forced him into admitting that he was wrong. And, you go back,
Finally.
you throw back to Kaepernick and you bring it to now. And so really what we're seeing happen is a lot of like coming together and creating the right initiatives and finding, so there's all these partnerships. I'm sorry, there's all these like, foundations and associations that are doing good work. Like the Help Score program is like helping community relationships with police by like this great program where like they put kids in a room with social workers and police are in plain clothes. You don't know that they're police. A conversation happens about their neighborhood and their experiences, and these police kind of get to hear what those kids I guess impression of, and so it's this whole like bunch of programs that were just kind of like underfunded. And
Mhm.
even working for the NFL alumni, I find myself like creating these benefits, and you have these great people reaching out for support, and you can give them some, but you sort of don't give enough. And then something like what happened, in the past spring happens, and you're like, wow, did I really, support the right initiatives? Like, am I using this platform the right way? So I think it's about like finding those small guys that are like scraping and scrolling for grants, looking for support, trying to like get these like real grassroots initiatives and programs, and just like we got to support those so that they can do their work.
No, I guess that I didn't even think about the challenges that holds for you guys as well, because like Kaepernick still isn't working. So a lot of these athletes that may want to do more or speak out more may feel a little limit to it, because they also need to be able to provide for their families and the people that work for them as well. And they saw kind of, I mean, what happened with Kaepernick as opposed to some of the things that didn't happen to some of the other players who took a
Mhm.
knee with him and even after him. So like, do you see there ever being a way that things can be negotiated where, because I know a lot of people still aren't watching or won't watch because of the Kaepernick,
Yeah,
and then you have the athlete. I mean, how do you even negotiate all of that? Because you're dealing with mainly alumni, but you
yeah.
kind of need the people who are still working in NFL to help really.
We support the players. You know what I'm saying? The NFL Alumni is started by former players, is ran by players. It's an association, a group of guys that are looking out for each other. So, like, at the end of the day, the way I negotiate it is that, so the NFL has a great relationship with the military. It's a military tribute sport. If you listen to the terminology and think about like the tradition of it all, we're trying to do more from the alumni. Like, we've had caring for our own, caring for kids, like caring for our troops and caring for our, like the red, white, and blue tournament coming up, where we're helping like vets and with children who are battling issues through a few charities. So like, we are always like making sure that we're supporting like our first responders and military personnel, and that's just like first top, so that's just like first, known, and players always have that connection, like that brotherhood. And then like, in addition to that, like the NFL chose, obviously, like it's not going to stop. It didn't fire everybody, from kneeling. People stopped watching, people stopped coming. The NFL, obviously Goodell just came out and said, I'm sorry, I got it wrong. And the players are safe to come out from behind the shield, under their helmets, say what they feel. It's not shut up and dribble. You see guys like LeBron, like kind of set off because it's like he's gonna be heard, and no longer is like the athlete gonna be forced to just kind of shut up and dribble. So I think that's what it's all about. Like, if the alumni can find a way to, use the shield to support that, like with the retired players, like it's definitely a win in my book. So.
Oh, no, that's great. Well, I know we have to be mindful of your time because you have a lot of events still going on, but there's some questions in the comments I want to make sure I get to. So Allison Vick, can't wait to watch this. I'd love to see more highlights during games, halftime or otherwise, about NFL players and how they're giving back to their communities. I'd also be interested to see if anyone is involved in grassroots campaigns to make changes in their hometowns, communities, when it comes to current political topics like voter suppression, police reform. Guess we kind of already answered that question, but yeah, Allison, they own it. They're going to help out more, or that they have a whole formula for it. It's
we need everybody. Just call us up at the national office and ask for Brent Reece. We'll figure it out.
Okay, I'm gonna put your phone number in the comments. Kidding. So most are saying this is awesome. Hello. Also, Allison, I love hearing the tech side. I had no idea. Tech for COVID. Wow, some of my guys may like this. Rhonda Marie, she has a lot of athletes that she works with. That's with her agency. So great options. I was just about to inquire about VR integration. And then from Nicole, and then Eugene asked, hybrid events using AR, VR, very cool. Been involved with some development. Love what he's talking about. So.
Yeah. And like you said, with that stuff, you don't have to have like the headsets there. These are like capable, like all of our Android and, iPhones nowadays can allow you to kind of use these 3D and AR, and we're not doing anything out of the ordinary, like we're already making sure couches fit in our living rooms. We're already doing, Google 360 maps. We're already kind of Snapchatting and all these things. So we're not doing anything too crazy. We're just bringing it to the athletic and like music world now, while they're unable to tour. And it's like this like kind of freeze of the industry. There's got to be some innovative ways. So where it costs a few $100,000 to lock down the Staples Center and maybe make a few million at limited seating, you could like have 1.2 billion people on their phone able to access your virtual performance and safely do it through COVID. So that's kind of what inspired all of that. Yeah.
I love this. I just love it so much because I feel for our kids right now because my daughter played basketball. She couldn't play this season. With COVID, and like I played soccer since kindergarten, all the way up to my senior year. So I know the importance of getting that physical activity, but more than that is the team aspect of it, learning to, because we're both only children. So it's like learning to depend on someone else, encouraging someone else, bringing out the best of each other and winning together. And I love that you guys are bringing all of that team, the joys of that teams have into a VR space, so these tech kids can still have a way of interacting. And you told me it's also very physical with the goggles on, so they can still work out and get all that in, and maybe possibly get one in with an actual NBA player, NFL player, or a scientist or whoever. I just find this so exciting for something to look forward to in this pandemic times that are kind of getting fast forward, because the need is definitely there. And I know how important it's going to be to make sure that we vote for politicians who make sure that the digital divide is not a problem, that they're looking at it. They're trying to get internet, high-speed internet in rural areas, because that's going to be a big stopping point as well. Is there any other topics or things that we should look out for to help to make sure that our kids can get this great technology in their area or just have access?
I mean, I think, we covered it. There's a lot of people out there doing cool things like tech centers, and, I can shout out like the Danny Martins from Geek Elites, and the different like HyperX's and organizations that are supporting these like charities. These sort of like esports charity driven initiatives. The companies and sponsors behind that group, like Origin PC and GameStops, and shout outs to just all those cool tech companies that now have a way. Really that's the whole thing through esports. We kind of make the alumni accessible and attractive to like new sponsors, tech related sponsors, and they get a chance to kind of align themselves with branding that they otherwise usually don't, like athletic. So I think it's just cool to have like Nike and Microsoft together. That's just like the ultimate.
Well, we know how product placement goes, because we've had some attorneys on the show, so that you could end up having all these like sponsored drinks that the players have to drink on the bench, and the billboards, different advertisers to make it look real. You guys could have a lot of fun.
That's it. Virtual side, especially. Yeah. That's where the revenue comes in. Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations. That sounds like a big
I mean, we're just, it's a team effort. So, I just shout out to everybody at the alumni office, like at National, and the entire Alumni Association. And
Well, I'm really excited about all that you guys have going on. And thanks again for being my guest. I know you had a very busy schedule, so I really appreciate it. But I would be in deep trouble if I didn't say that Donna says hello. She's here as well.
What's up, Donna?
Funny story. We kind of know each other indirectly. She's my cousin, but she knows they like grew up together and stuff. So it's it's a small world out there. In other words,
we're all family. What's up, Miss Donna? All right. Well, thanks for having me. And great show, and keep it up. Keep up all the hard work.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. And if you need an announcer or any other girl voices,
it's done. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I always wanted to be an avatar.
All right. Yeah. We'll definitely line that up.
All right, great. And some of the people said they've already reached out to you on some social media and LinkedIn and so on. And
that's what's up, guys.
Some guys. So
thanks again. Let's connect, guys. All right, take care, everybody.
See you later. Have a good one.
You too.
Thanks again.
All right, bye now.
Bye-bye. And that was my guest, Brent Reece. So much great information, and I'm very excited for all the connections that seem to be made in the comments. You guys better make sure you really do slide into his DMs, because he's got a lot of exciting things coming up and going on. And if you look on the NFL Alumni's page, they have all of their press releases. We didn't even get to go over everything, but they were just here for the Super Bowl of golf at Pinehurst in North Carolina. So they have a North Carolina connection. And it would be nice if we could get some of that North Carolina green and filming and esports and stuff here in North Carolina as well. So this is exciting. There's a lot going on. So you may not get the traditional football season this season, but maybe there's something even more fun on the horizon that will still be in your living room that you can enjoy from home in these new pandemic times that we're all going through together globally. Oh, my throat is so dry all of a sudden. I'm just very excited. Well, tomorrow, speaking of voice, I will have C-Note, as they call him. Chad Roper will be my guest tomorrow. He has worked with Michelle Williams, Danny Kane, Rihanna. Yes, Rihanna. I can't wait for her next album. Like, I just have a feeling that it's coming any minute. So I'm excited about speaking with him tomorrow because he's really, really good with working with women, but he's also worked with Jamie Foxx. So I'm excited to have him on tomorrow. He's going to be my guest. We're going to talk about him as a voice producer and working in the industry, in the music industry, and he's Grammy nominated multiple times. So this should be very exciting to speak with him. And then, of course, Thursday is Talk Back Thursday with Jay Bailey and me. And we're going to have a fun time talking about different topics, fun, different things going on in the world, what's going on in entertainment, the latest trends and so forth. And you heard New York Fashion Week had just got approved. So we'll have fashion in September, which I'm excited about, especially being a model and an actress. I need something new, live entertainment, something, anything, street fashion. I'm missing it all. So excited to see all of that. And thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and promote this episode with your friends. I am so mad at my computer right now. It's just all the glitches right before we came on. So I wasn't able to do an intro, but I'm gonna do my outro. So you guys still can hear the wonderful music by Breed Beats, who just released a new song with Bow Wow. Oh yeah, I was gonna try to remember the name. I try to remember too much. I do this all, I don't have notes. I just do it all from memory because I start writing notes, I get distracted, I forget what number I'm on. Nope, I just rather be paying more attention to who I'm interviewing. And so yeah, I lost it forever, but I can always tell you guys tomorrow. But the joys of being live. So thanks everyone for tuning in. And on that note, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and see you guys again tomorrow at 6 o'clock.
This friend, she gon' tell you where she bought it, cause she know you can't afford it. Know you can get it, looking exquisite, no competition, stay on the pivot. Hope be watching, they be plotting, she so motherfucking independent. Yeah.